Imagine trading grey, freezing mornings for sun-drenched beaches and a life you once thought was out of reach. 7 years ago, that was me, stuck in a cycle that felt impossible to break, until I took a chance on an Australian working holiday visa. Hi, I'm Laura, and that single decision not only allowed me to escape cold British winters, but it completely transformed my life. Since then, I've gained permanent residency in Australia, built a location-flexible career, and now I call the beach my backyard. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how the Australian working holiday visa can be your ticket to new beginnings. I'll break down everything you need to know, from how to apply, how to meet the requirements, and how to set yourself up for success. Plus, I'll share what I've learned from my own experiences and how you can use this opportunity to create a life of freedom, adventure, and endless possibilities. So if you're ready to break free from your routine, embrace new adventures, and build a better life surrounded by like-minded people in Australia, then you're in the right place. So if you're like me back then, you're probably wondering, what is the Australian working holiday visa? And when I first heard about the working holiday visa, I thought, this is definitely too good to be true. A visa that lets you work, travel, and explore a country as breathtaking as Australia. It almost sounded like a dream. But it's definitely real, and it's completely life-changing. The working holiday visa is a visa designed for 18 to 30-year-olds, or 35 in some countries like the UK, to explore Australia while supporting themselves through work. This is amazing because it means you don't have to save up all of your money for travels before you go, and you can actually just get a job here and there whilst you're over in Australia to support your travels whilst you're exploring this incredible country. Think of this as more than just a visa. It's a ticket to independence, adventure, and a completely new perspective on life. For me, it wasn't just a visa or a year of travel, it was the foundation for a future I didn't know was possible. And the reason you're probably seeing more and more people applying and going on these working holiday visas to Australia is because it's becoming easier and easier, especially for people from the UK, to be able to get these working holiday visas and stay for an extended period of time. So I'm going to run you through the requirements and the step-by-step to being able to get your visa. The first step is to check if the country that you reside in or have a passport for actually qualifies for this working holiday visa in the first place. Australia has agreements with so many countries around the world, and the best place to check is on the official Australian government website to be sure that you definitely qualify. But if you want a super quick roundup, then here's the gist. You're going to need a valid passport. You need proof that you're going to be able to financially support yourself, at least for the first period when you get there. So at the moment, that is 5,000 Australian dollars. And thirdly, one requirement is that you don't have any dependent children. See, not too many requirements, and if you fit all of those, the best way to apply is through that official Australian government website. There are other third-party websites and companies that will do the application for you, but honestly, it's so easy. You really don't need the additional help. And although I've never heard good or bad things, number one, I don't think it's necessary to pay somebody else to do this for you. And two, for things like this, I would rather just check it over myself. You know that everything on there is legitimate, truthful, and there's been no mistakes. As of January 2025, the cost of the Australian working holiday visa is 650 Australian dollars. And once you've submitted your application and any supporting documents they may ask for, such as the proof of funds, or for some countries that may be health insurance, it's pretty much a waiting game. And to be honest, you don't have to wait that long. For me, I submitted the application, and within 10 minutes, I had the visa approval straight in my inbox. And I've heard this pretty much is standard across the board. Most people that have a very smooth application process and no criminal record get their visa application approved within minutes. However, I would just leave a little bit of time before you're intending to arrive, just in case there are any hiccups or delays with receiving that approval. When I applied, I remember feeling so nervous and apprehensive, but honestly, it was the best decision I've ever made. This visa allows you to work and travel in Australia for up to 12 months, and as of July 2024, if you are from the UK, you can now get 3 total working holiday visas without having to do any regional work. That's 3 years of incredible opportunities to immerse yourself in Australian life, explore this beautiful country, and grow as a person. When I arrived in Australia 7 years ago, that wasn't the case. You had to do 88 days of regional work, which I am so glad for your sake if you're from the UK that you do not have to do that anymore. However, there are a lot of countries that do still require you to do the regional work. If you do fall into one of these countries, in that first 12 months, you will need to complete 88 days of regional work to be able to extend your visa for a second year. In your second year, you may even need to do 6 months worth of regional work to be able to qualify for a third year. So count yourself lucky if you're from the UK and you're applying in 2025. But if you do have to do your regional work, it's not all bad news. Whilst I'm not gonna lie to you, it's definitely hard work from my own experience. It's also an opportunity to meet other travelers that are also in the same situation and explore some other regional towns you may not have lived in otherwise. But one of the most amazing things about this visa in particular is it gives you the legal right to work whilst traveling, a freedom not offered by many other travel visas around the world. This means you can earn money to support your adventures, build new skills, and build incredible memories that are going to stay with you for a lifetime. So you've got your visa, you've booked your flight, and now you've landed in Australia. And what's next? Well, let me tell you, it's definitely going to take a little bit of adjustment, but it's one of the most rewarding experiences that you're going to have. Finding a place is usually going to be the first logical step, and hostels are an amazing place to start as they're super cheap and you're going to meet other travelers that are also in a similar situation. However, if you are wanting to stay a little bit more long term and settle down, share houses are normally going to be the best for sticking on a budget and giving you the most flexibility. Personally, when I arrived, I just completed an incredible 3-month trip around Southeast Asia, but this did mean that when I arrived in Australia, I was pretty much over the backpacking scene and I didn't want to see another dorm room. There's lots of different ways that you can find these room opportunities, such as Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups, and a website called Flatmates. I've used all of the above when looking for rooms in Australia, and there's one group in particular if you are landing in Sydney that has been super helpful. It's called Irish Around Sydney, and no, you don't have to be Irish to join it. Here you can find so many break leases, which just means you are taking over someone else's lease, and also those singular rooms. I'd also suggest waiting until you land in Australia to be looking for these flats and room shares. The reason being, the rental market is super crazy and competitive at the moment, but also a lot of the photos are actually not a good representation of what they look like in real life. So it's always best to go and see them in person before paying somebody or securing a long-term room. Not only this, but it gives you the opportunity when you arrive to have a look at the neighborhood and see where you would actually like to base yourselves. If you're here and you're looking to rent an entire place for yourself, this is where it's going to get a little bit more difficult. Often you already need to have 3 months worth of pay slips or even pay up front to be able to secure your own rental if you're going with a property management team, which is why those house shares are the best option if you're arriving on your own. So we've spoke about accommodation, but now let's get on to work. And let me tell you, there's plenty of work available if you're willing to throw yourself into the right roles. There are, however, some restrictions when it comes to picking up those job opportunities. The first being that often you can only work for one employer for a 6-month total. So sometimes this can make it a little bit more difficult if you're trying to get into some professional opportunities. So just keep this in mind before arriving. I personally use this as an excuse to take a job that had less responsibilities. So I worked in cafes, restaurants, call centers, which one were great for meeting other people on working holiday visas and backpackers and just people that were like-minded. But 2, these roles can give you more flexibility as a casual worker and also have amazing weekend and holiday rates. One job even paid me over $50 per hour to work on a Sunday. There's Facebook groups, which are always great to find those more kind of casual and hospitality roles. or you can use websites such as Seek or Indeed, which are Australian recruitment websites. I got my first role just by printing out some new CVs and resumes and handing them into local cafes and restaurants nearby me, and within 24 hours I was offered a trial shift at the cafe across the road. So I definitely think if you're going for more of those casual roles, that's going to be the best way to 1, show that you're eager, 2, get your personality across, and 3, be able to learn the area a bit better too. I've been living in Australia for 7 years now, and let me tell you, it's not always been easy. You may think that booking a one-way flight is going to fix all of your problems, but let me tell you, it definitely won't. There's always going to be new experiences and opportunities that you're going to have to learn from to develop yourself as a person and get the most out of this experience. And Australia hasn't just been a place that I've lived for that period, but it's also the place that's completely transformed my outlook of life and understand what I'm truly capable of. When I arrived, I was a little bit entitled, I will admit it. I hadn't pushed myself outside of my comfort zone that often, and I definitely didn't think that I would be working on a farm for 3 months in Bowen, packing fruit on a conveyor belt just to extend my visa. But that experience taught me humility, the value of hard work, and how to connect with people from completely different walks of life. Whilst being in Australia, I've had moments of complete joy like snorkeling the Great Barrier Reef or driving along the incredible Great Ocean Road. I've also faced my fair share of challenges, like figuring out how to navigate a new job market, dealing with homesickness, and yes, misjudging the fierce Australian sun and burning to a crisp on Bondi Beach. But even those moments have taught me resilience and adaptability, shaping me into somebody who thrives as a person being outside their comfort zone. Living in so many different places across this beautiful country, such as regional towns like Bowen, huge cities like Sydney, and the beautiful beaches of the Gold Coast has really allowed me to broaden my horizons. And each of these places has offered me something completely different. The sense of community, exposure to different lifestyles, and the chance to use them as bases to explore Australia's iconic landscapes. From the incredible national parks of the Northern Territory or the grungy cafe culture of Melbourne, to the stunning blue oasis of the Whitsundays and the enchanting ancient tropical rainforests in Cape Tribulation. These experiences showed me the world has so much more to offer than that bubble that I grew up in. Australians are some of the friendliest and funniest people I've ever met. They are driven to be 1% better every single day, and that energy has rubbed off on me in the best way possible. It's inspired me to push myself, set bigger goals, and strive to be a better person every single day. And of course, the incredible landscapes here have given me a taste of something I never want to leave behind. But the biggest thing I've learnt from all of this is to not just survive, but to thrive. Take that road trip, learn to surf, and say yes to experience you'd usually shy away from. It's often where the best memories are made. So with that, here are some ways that you can really make the most of your experience whilst on a working holiday visa here in Australia. Number 1, make sure to step out of your social comfort zone. It's so easy when you arrive here to stick with other people from the same country you've just come from, and I'm 100% guilty of this. But the real magic happens when you branch out and speak to people from different walks of life. That means speaking to locals, to people that are also here from other countries, and immersing yourself in theirs and the Australian culture. One of the best decisions that I made when arriving in Sydney was living in a completely Spanish-speaking household. This allowed me to improve my own Spanish speaking and listening, which I then was able to use on an extended trip in Mexico. Number 2, don't try and replicate what you've left behind. It's natural to miss things from home, but this is a chance to truly embrace something new. Whether it's a hobby you've never tried before like surfing, or taking a job you'd never considered previously. Australia is full of opportunities to reinvent yourself if that's on the card, but also just explore and develop yourself and your interests even further. And let's be real, if you're moving to Australia or coming on a working holiday, you're probably somebody that wants completely new and different experiences to what you've grown up with in your hometown. Number 3, travel as much much as you can. This country is completely diverse and breathtaking. From the turquoise waters of the Great Barrier Reef to the red sands of the outback, there is so much here to explore. It's very easy when you arrive here to make friends and stick in your own little bubble. However, don't miss the chance to see as much as possible. You won't regret it. 4. Embrace the early mornings. I was never a morning person before, but now I understand the hype. Australia's lifestyle really promotes that work-life balance, and part of that is waking up early and seizing the day. Whether it's a walk along the beach, some daily gratitude, getting in a workout, or even just enjoying the incredible coffee they have here. It's these early moments that really set the tone for an incredible day. Number 5, be mindful of your money. Whilst yes, you might be earning more, especially in those big cities, it can be very easy to increase your outgoings too. Higher rent, eating out, and the endless opportunities of great adventures can definitely add up. Try to focus on spending your money on those experiences that are going to enrich your time here, or setting yourself up for your future. And finally, and most importantly, be sure to have fun. This is your adventure, the time to grow, explore, and create incredible memories. This journey isn't just about ticking off those big milestones. It's about those little moments that make the experience so special. Australia has a way of teaching you to enjoy life, live in the moment, and push yourself to achieve more. So to wrap it all up, that one decision to apply for a working holiday visa in Australia completely transformed my life. It's given me a chance to live a life I truly love, one that's full of adventure, growth, and happiness. And if you're even slightly thinking about it, my advice for you would be to go for it. You'll discover so much more about the world and yourself, and who knows, it may just be the best decision you've ever made. And now I'm about to take off on a completely new adventure, picking up my life and moving to a new country all over again. And I want to take you along for the ride. I'll be navigating different visa processes, new experiences, and of course the adventure that comes along with it. So if you've enjoyed hearing about my experiences and the things I've learned along the way, then don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can continue to join me on this exciting journey. And I'd love to hear from you too. So what's the one thing you're most excited to experience if you were to come to Australia on a working holiday visa? Your next adventure might be closer than you think. Thanks for watching, and if you liked this video, I'm sure that you're gonna love this one just here.